Lithuania are getting more popular and getting more traction. If in 2010 there was only 1,000 international students in Lithuania, right now we have over 10,000 international students studying in Lithuania, and we have great campuses. Same like Google offices. We have great lecturers. Lithuania developed a lot within those 15 years, and we are getting lots of students from Africa and South America as well. We have very interesting trends that students from US and UK are coming to study medicine and nursing into Lithuania.
Can you tell me about your story? So you started in Australia you started in Lithuania, went to Australia and back in Lithuania. Can you tell me a bit about your story?
But actually, that's a very interesting story because I decided to go to Australia after in 29. In 29, we had a global crisis, and at that time I was running an advertising agency here in Lithuania, and I almost went bankrupt. So I thought of, all right, let's use this chance to go somewhere overseas and exploring the world and different kind of markets and explore myself, because at that time I was only 25 years old. So I just packed my stuff. I got my wife together, and we went to study to Australia. This experience was life-changing because we had completely different lifestyle. It's sunny in Australia. 9 months you are wearing shorts, flippers. People are nice, smiling, and yeah, it was very exciting. And at that stage I started the education business, and then I began running a few more businesses like cleaning business, removals, and etc. Because there's a lot of opportunities in Australia.
Yeah, so that's interesting. What made you choose Australia compared to other options?
At that time, it was just coincidence, because I was decided between UK, Norway, because I had my family and friends living there and working there, but just one of my friends came from Australia, and she was sharing lots of good feedback, and she showed me pictures about the beaches, the travels that she done, and I was like, yeah, I'm going there, and that's it. So basically, without any proper research or without any proper homework, I just I fixed my admission documents, purchased flight tickets, and I went to Australia.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting to think, how does it compare to Lithuania? How about this study abroad market in Lithuania compared to Australia? Because you've got experience working in both
Yeah.
industries, right? How do you see it?
Well, to say in a few words in about Australia, because Australia is a very huge education market. Australia has over 10 or 20,000 colleges. Of course, now they are closing down due to the recent limitations and the caps Australia introduced. I think it's over 1.5 years ago. At that time, the education sector was booming, and there was a lot of students from all around the world. You can see in the major cities colleges on every corner, and as well as the unis were booming. Because for me, what was exciting about studies in Australia is that majority of universities, they have great campuses, they have great teachers, and to the classes, a few the universities lecturers were very professional and engaging, and it was a bit different from what I was studying before in Lithuania. But since that time, because I was studying over 20 years ago, the market completely changed, and right now we have very nice, very developed universities with great lecturers as well. Because we also have people coming from overseas to teach international local students in English language. So the market has changed a lot. If studies in Australia is a big niche, a big market, and we can find some very good quality education, and as well as not very good quality education, because people are using sometimes studies in Australia as the way how to get there. So there's certain universities and colleges you need to avoid in order to get great quality education. And then comparing to Australia, universities in Lithuania are getting more popular and getting more traction. If in 2010 there was only 1,000 international students in Lithuania, right now we have over 10,000 international students studying in Lithuania, and we have great campuses. Same like Google offices. We have great lecturers. Lithuania developed a lot within those 15 years, and still raising the bar in the international market.
Right. And where are most of the students coming from for Lithuania? Which kind of countries?
Of course, like I believe the mix is very similar to Australia. Of course, yeah, we do get a lot of students from Southeast Asian countries. We are getting lots of students from African countries, South America as well, booming. We have very interesting trends that students from US and UK are coming to study medicine and nursing into Lithuania, as well as from few more developed countries in European Union because of more cost-effective studies price.
Yeah, I've noticed that's the big trend, isn't it? Going to lower cost destinations like Lithuania and some nearby countries like Latvia in Eastern Europe, they're growing a lot.
Yeah, so we see that still the majority of students comes from the Asian countries, but we see this rising trend that we are getting more and more students from European Union as well as US, due to good quality education, especially in the medical field, because Lithuanian certificates are valued. Let's say if you will be studying in Lithuania medicine and nursing, your diploma will be accepted all around the world. For example, like you don't need to go for any recognition if you will go to work into Norway or UK. If you will go to work in US or Australia, you will need to pass only 2 exams, but still you will be saving like I don't know, like 40 or 50% of the budget that you would spend in the US or UK.
It's more than that, isn't it? Saving a lot more than that. More like
Yeah.
Saving like 80%.
Yeah.
How is the tuition?
So the tuition fees starts for nursing students starts from around 6,000 euros a year, and if they want to study dentistry, it's going to start from around 13,000 euros a year. People are students are saving a lot on the education here.
Yeah, and the business programs, technology are also a bit cheaper than that or similar price.
Yeah, so we do have way cheaper education. Let's say, you can study a Bachelor of Business in Klaipėda University, which will be priced around 3.5 or 4,000 euros a year, as well as, some other colleges and institutions. Usually the price varies around 3.5 and 4,000 euros a year, and up to, and medical studies are, the most expensive. So that's why, the price of medical studies is around 13,000 euros a year.
Yeah, I think there's just huge demand for medical students, and there's not enough medical universities around the world. So there's such strong demand, and in the labor market, it's so easy for people to get a job if they have a medical degree, right?
Oh yeah, and it's trending all around the world, especially same like in Australia. If you are going to graduate as a nurse, you can say that your permanent residency is guaranteed because nurses are on demand, and if you're going to live in smaller cities around Australia, they will give a working visa, and migration opportunities are just limitless.
Yeah, and what do you think of the other work opportunities in Lithuania after graduation? That can people stay and work or look for jobs after they've studied there, like for business, other programs like that?
Yeah, thank you for a very good question. So in Lithuania, there is ample of opportunities to stay and get permanent residency. So first of all, we have the program that if somebody is holding a temporary residence permit, let's say you're getting a student visa, and on a student visa you're getting temporary residency permit. If you hold temporary residency permit for 5 years, you can apply for a permanent residency. So let's say if you're coming to study a bachelor degree and master's in Lithuania, after master's degree, you can apply for a permanent residency. There's no big requirements for that. It's just that you need to study Lithuanian and be ready to pass the exam, and that's probably it. And comparing to Australia, where if you study bachelor and masters in Australia, your permanent residency is it's not guaranteed because there's different kind of visas like skilled visas, employment visas, and etc. And still, due to the raised bars and benchmarks for skilled visas, lots of students struggling to get permanent residency in Australia right now.
Yeah, there's just so much demand.
Yeah.
So this is the big trend, right?
Yeah.
And
so in Lithuania is smooth and easy. If you're driven career-wise, you just come here, do your bachelor and masters, and you can migrate smoothly. So if you're studying in nursing takes around 4 years of studies, in 3.5 or 4 years. So if you get a job and continue your visa for 1 year, after 5 years you will have a guaranteed permanent residency.
That's cool. And how does the English requirement? How is the English level in Lithuania, and how easy is it to learn Lithuanian for like a English speaker? I know, for example, Spanish, maybe German. Like Spanish is probably easier for an English speaker. German is probably harder, but Lithuania is probably what kind of how is the level of English in Lithuania, and how hard is
Yes,
it?
because all the studies for international students are the requirement of English language is 6.5 from IELTS. However, the good thing that majority of Lithuanian universities they accepts medium instruction of English. So the graduates from African countries or some of the Southeast Asian, if they have a medium instruction of English, they can be accepted without any additional certification. But if the students don't have such a certification, they can pass just Duolingo, which is very very affordable right now comparing to IELTS or PT, and they can save on that. With regards to Lithuanian language, it's a part of here in the European branch, so it's very similar to Indonesian language, Indian language. So it has some familiar words, and maybe it's easier for them to learn. The good thing is that if you are going to study, let's say nursing, so Lithuanian lessons at the university will be mandatory for you. The students will need to do the work practice in hospitals. So the universities will be teaching you a common Lithuanian language. Some people say it's a difficult language. Some people say it's easy language. I cannot say for me from my end because I'm a native speaker.
It's easy for you, right?
Yeah, but I cannot judge whether it's difficult or easy. But yeah, it's challenging.
Yeah. And do you think people should choose Lithuania instead of Australia now?
It depends what people are.
What's
Yeah, it depends on immigration goals, career goals, what they are after. Because Lithuania is becoming a more global country, and we have great trends in the fintech. For example, if you're willing to study IT, if you are willing to study finances, there's a great opportunities for you here to settle in, get a good job. Big companies like Binance and Revolut, because banks and online banks and crypto exchange current currency platforms established here, as well as we have few of really big high tech companies which hires hundreds and thousand people. So there's great opportunities for those who are willing to dig into this field, as well as Lithuania is very popular physics students, companies which produce laser equipment, semiconductors as well. So if you're into finance, into science, as well as medicine, because we have great lecturers from medicine field, and Lithuania is very well known in the European Union for having good doctors and nurses and good education background.
That's cool. That's it must be a really good destination. I think I remember Revolut was first opened in Lithuania. I think it got the banking license for EU in Lithuania, if that's right. It seems to have quite a
correct.
forward-thinking regulation, so it's quite accessible in the whole EU, right? So it means it's quite good for technology.
Yeah. So the market is changing a bit because recently there was some new legislations introduced into the online banking and cryptocurrency field, but still we do have these great opportunities for business people who are keen on investing, in this field and growing here. So Lithuania is great for licensing, and going into the European market, as well as working from Lithuania and selling services around the world.
Yeah. What do you think it's like getting a residency in Lithuania at the moment? What are the options and pathways for that?
Yeah. So as mentioned previously, you can be a student, and after 5 years of studies, you can become permanent resident, and then if you like, you can move into citizenship. However, you can get the same thing if you're getting a work contract. The difference in Lithuania between if we will compare with Australia, let's say. In Australia, if you're willing to get a working visa, the company needs to comply with rules and regulations, and they need to have a certain profit and financial requirements, and as well as the applicant needs to be paid the certain wage and amount of wage and have an education in that field. Lithuania is completely different, and it's more easygoing. If you will find any kind of job in Lithuania and get a working agreement, the Department of Immigration will issue a visa. And as well, if you will spend in Lithuania working for 5 years, you can get a permanent residency. If you are a high earner in Lithuania and your occupation is in a skilled occupation list, this time can be fast tracked into 3 years. So let's say if you are IT, if you're from medical field, if you are engineer and etc., or if you're earning a certain amount of money and you are let's say company director or general manager, you can fast track your permanent residency and get it in 3 years.
So what's permanent residency? And because if you can't get the Lithuanian nationality, what's the difference between the permanent residency and the nationality, and how does that work?
Well, it's not a big difference because the difference is between the voting. When you have citizenship, you can vote, during the elections, and then you have permanent residency. You can stay on it forever, and you have all the social securities. You have free healthcare. You have free education in Lithuania. So it's a very, very beneficial if you are willing to migrate. If you're looking to migrate into Europe, Lithuania have very good pathways. As well as if you will get a permanent residency, you can invite your family and siblings to join you here in Lithuania. I believe none of the countries have such kind of conditions. And of course, another pathway is for the business and startup. If you are investing in a startup here in Lithuania, 28,000 euros, you can get a temporary residency permit for up to 5 years. And again, if you will become a company director, you can fast track your residency into 3 years. And if you are just a passive shareholder of the company, the waiting time for you will be around 5 years.
And people would need to they would need to live in Lithuania at the same time, right? As that, for it to be the time spent there.
Yeah, so around 90% of the time we need to spend in Lithuania. Yeah, but lots of people manage it because they have free access to the European Union and the Schengen zone. So still, if they do have any kind of business in European Union or back home, maybe in Asia or Africa, they can still travel and benefit from that.
Yeah, and how are you seeing the demand? Is there a big increase in people coming to Lithuania?
Yes.
For working as well?
Both for working and business. So we have a great trend because right now there's when Lithuania stepped into the European Union, wise people migrated into the UK, Norway, and etc. At the time of then we were getting on board of European Union, our population was around 3.5 million. Now it's below 3 million. We need a lot of people to sustain the economy. All of these big international companies, and from the fintech, from other fields, they attracting lots of professionals from European Union as well as from US and etc. As well as many other people are willing to do the business here because of the migration flow flexibilities, and we see the rising trend that lots of foreigners are willing to obtain the business here in Lithuania and use their know-how from overseas and do a great business here.
Yeah, it seems interesting. I'm interested to check out Lithuania and learn more about the country. It seems quite an interesting history.
Come over. I'm inviting you.
Yeah, it'd be good. I mean, when I'm in UK, it's quite easy to travel, isn't it? So that's quite a big shift then. When Lithuania joined the EU, it went from 3.5 to under 3 million. Where was that? Like, see people moving to other parts of the EU, like Germany and other countries like that?
Yeah, so it was at the beginning when we stepped into European Union, because there is a big difference between the wages, and we can say Lithuania at that time was a relatively poor country. But right now, we have a different trend because lots of people are willing to come back to Lithuania because they can earn the same money while working in Norway or Lithuania. Wage barrier is is all still there's some difference, but when you calculate living costs or business running costs or taxes, when you do your homework, you can see that it's more beneficial to live in Lithuania right now and do the business or work here. So we have another trend that we see that lots of Lithuanians are coming back home.
Yeah, so they're coming. So that must be especially true for things like technology, right? Where you can do remotely, or you can do like web design and consulting and things like that.
But it's not limited. We also see that the construction business and workers from a construction field also is getting back because of a very good pay. As I told you before, we have a lack of professionals as well as lack of tradies who can assist Lithuanians in building up the country. Because let's say Vilnius which is the capital of Lithuania, is booming, and you can see lots of developers investing into the property market, and the property market is kind of hot here right now. So we need a lot of labor, and we need a lot of people to help the economy to boom.
Yeah, I'm just checking the GDP growth rate is like is growing quite a lot, right?
Yeah, and
it's like 2.5%. Next year, 3%.
yeah,
But purchasing power has increased a lot, right?
yeah,
It's the cost of living is quite low compared to Australia.
yeah.
It's coming up.
Because if we can compare the food prices. So I believe in Australia the food prices is 30% more than in Lithuania. However, the accommodation is very expensive in Australia. You can see that you can purchase property in suburbs for 700,000 or 800,000 Australian dollars. In Lithuania, you can obtain the same property and even more better quality for, let's say, 150,000 euros, which is around 1,000 Australian dollars. So you can see the price difference is very big, and accommodation is more affordable here in Lithuania. So that's why I'm saying that right now, you know, it's a big advantage to work in Lithuania because you can save on accommodation, on food, and agriculture business is also very big in Lithuania, and we have quite good local produce. So we have fresh milk, fresh tomatoes, and vegetables, and etc. So if you're also keen on to improve your health, Lithuania can be your also destination.
Well, you're very good at promoting or very good at selling Lithuania. Definitely makes me want to visit. So many advantages.
Well, each country has lots of advantages and disadvantages, because we see also that lots of Lithuanians who migrated to UK are coming back due to increased living expenses, and so we see that the world is changing. If 10 years ago everybody was running out of Lithuania, right now many people are thinking of coming back, or they already came back and they are building their houses here, establishing families or businesses. So I think it's a good time.
It's probably a natural trend, isn't it, when the European Union makes like free movement of labor.
Yeah.
Everyone just moves to the places that have high wages, and then after they've got similar wages, they just move back, so they have cheaper living costs, and then it just equalizes, right, over time.
Yeah, so that's why I love your passport of Lithuania. You can move freely around the European Union. So you can choose, if you like nice weather, you can choose to live in Spain or Italy. After more cold weather, so you can go to Norway and have different kind of experience. If you're into skiing, Norway is great all around, as well as Italy, some more parts of it. So then you have this option is great.
Yeah, I think England used to have that, but now we can only stay for 6 months. But that's probably enough for most people in England. But I definitely saw that. I think there's quite a big trend of people who left from Poland, and they went to other countries, and now they're coming back. So it seems like a similar trend in Lithuania.
Yeah. I do see this trend, but still you can see many Polish in the UK, in Iceland, in Norway, and they migrated a lot.
Pollution.
Yeah, Polish
Polish people, yeah, they've moved a lot, but the growth rate in Poland is accelerating now. They say it may overtake UK at some point.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I've been there. To be honest, I love Poland because I have some Polish roots, and I love to go there every year, and I could see big changes. And Poland is one of the biggest economies right now in the European Union. They produce a lot of GDP, as well as I call it a China of the European Union. They're really good at many things.
Yeah, the China of the European Union. Yeah, the workshop. Yeah, that's quite interesting to think like that. And yeah, how do you see? So I think you have like quite a lot of experience with the migration part, right? Most of your work experience has been helping students to study abroad and
Yeah,
change country. And now is the main focus is on helping the students and the people to get residency, right, in Lithuania.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So do you see? Yeah, so I think that's covered most of the questions that I have, things that I'm interested in, and I think we've covered quite a lot of stuff, really, mainly about the trends. How do you see the other countries around Lithuania? How do they compare for someone who doesn't know as much about those countries? Because I think that's the thing that maybe everyone is thinking like about them. Everyone, or like maybe this is from my perspective. It seems like a lot of students know about UK, Australia. They're quite famous, right? But maybe they don't know about Lithuania and other countries around it. How would you describe the other countries and the other options, and like Lithuania and probably Estonia? How do they compare to Lithuania in terms of study options? Have you traveled much between them?
Yeah. Well, mainly I'm interested in student success rates because this is what you are keen. When you're helping a student or the business owner, you're always looking at the success rates. And I noticed this trend over 2 years ago that the majority of the global countries and the biggest markets in international education, they're closing their borders because UK introduced caps for student dependence. Germany has the issues with accommodation and high cost of living. UK as well, it became very expensive. Australia introduced caps, and same did the Canada. So around 1.5 or 1 year ago, there was a big amount of students who did not get the chance to get into these markets. So they began exploring the other countries, and there came the Poland, and they accepted lots of students, and they've been trending, and they've been accepting lots of international students at that time. Right now, due to their strict immigration policy, there's a big risk to get a visa refusal if you are pretending to study in Poland. Same happened, very similar situation was in Latvia. So Lithuania, at this stage, and our government is doing quite well because they're filtering the students. And we do have visa refusals, but the visa refusal rate is not that high as in Poland or Latvia or Estonia. Yeah, so from the visa perspectives, Lithuania is more flexible, and still we do have really good universities, and we do have also a few colleges, but living is more about the universities and the higher education here. Still, if you can get a visa in Poland or Latvia, there's good. Let's say Latvia has a very good business universities because they used to have them for over 20 years, and they still have very good business universities. Poland is also famous for any kind of occupations and courses in the business and the medical field and science as well. But you need to keep in mind that there's a greater chance for you to get a visa refusal if you're applying to these countries rather than Lithuania.
So
And,
are they? Yeah, they're more selective, right? Or they're more
yeah.
limited in their visas.
Yeah, so that's why I do recommend, if you're keen on exploring Baltic states, Poland, Latvia, Estonia, choose the best universities that you're going to study, apply into a few of them, and then see whether your visa will be approved or not. If you have a greater option in Latvia or Poland, have Lithuania as a backup because you might have issues.
How about the languages in between Lithuania, Latvia, and Poland? Do they share similarities? Are they mutually
Yeah,
comprehensible? Or
Lithuania and Latvia has a few similar words. No, it sounds very familiar, but it's different languages, and Polish is completely different because it's a Slavic language. It's more similar to Russian. I do have a common of Polish as well, and I can speak and understand. So I'm familiar with all of these languages. So they're all different, and the Estonian language is completely different. So when you choose the country, you need to know that you're choosing a language as well, and all of these languages they're different. And if you will settle here, you will need to learn it, and you just need to maybe watch some YouTube videos and see whether you like one or another language.
yeah, I think in especially in Nordic countries and Denmark, the English is very very high. Everyone can understand English.
Yeah.
Is that quite similar in Lithuania?
Well, the good thing is that young people, I can say that up to 30 years, they are very fluent in English because they all studying English in high school, and they are very fluent. And especially in the majority of the biggest companies in Lithuania, they do employ people from different countries. So English is very popular, and if you see young people around you, you always can talk to them in English. And in the hospitality service as well, you can see a lot of young people working there. So I didn't hear that somebody's having issues. Of course, there is some issues when you have a business with maybe government bodies, and you're willing to obtain some land or buy some property and etc. But then you can hire specialists who can assist you in that.
Yeah, sure. And I think there's some good universities, especially in Vilnius is the capital, right?
Yeah. So
That has the main. Is that where you're based?
yeah, I'm based in Vilnius, and Vilnius University is one of the, not one of the, but the biggest university in Lithuania. I think their population is over 20,000 students, and they have the different kind of courses. And as well, Arturas Mickus University from Kaunas, the second biggest university. These are the two biggest and best ranking universities in Lithuania. I think, and the QS ranking is around like 450 between worldwide universities. So I think it's a very good option to study there, and it's also affordable comparing to the global rankings.
Cool. And is it it's quite close to Belarus? Do you get many Belarusian students and people coming from Belarus?
Yeah, we used to have, but due to the uncertainties right now in this location, we don't have much of students from Belarus. But Poland still have around 20,000 students from Belarus coming to study there.
Cool. Yes, the more I work in this industry, the more I'm interested to travel and I learn about different destinations and explore. I think the other question I had was if someone wanted to find out more, if someone wants to find out more about you and what you do and pathways options in Lithuania, how can they contact you?
Yeah, so they can go on to our website, Pathways.lt. We also do have our TikTok and YouTube channel. We are trying to share things on the weekly basis. We also have podcast on residency by investment here in Lithuania, so they can visit our website, and then they can find the links into our social media.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks a lot, Arturas. Good to talk.
Next time we can have more deeper discussion, maybe about the study options in Lithuania, or we can explore the pathways for the residency by investment.
Yeah, sounds good. All right.
Sounds good to me.
Cheers. Good to talk.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.